Hello and welcome. What if I told you that one of the most powerful weapons against age-related muscle loss isn't an expensive supplement or a complicated diet plan, but something you can buy for just a few dollars at any grocery store? A groundbreaking 2025 study has just revealed something stunning. It found that seniors who ate nuts almost every day had a 38% lower risk of developing sarcopenia. That's the medical term for the muscle loss that robs us of our strength and our independence. If you felt yourself getting weaker, perhaps struggling with jaws you used to open with ease, or feeling a little less steady on your feet, I want you to know you are certainly not alone. We've been told this is just a normal part of aging, but what if that's not the whole story? My name is Frank Taylor, and at 68 years young, I've spent a lot of time thinking about these very questions. Now, I want to be clear. I am not a medical doctor or a geriatrician. My journey over the past decade has been a bit different. I've dedicated my retirement to being a sort of health detective for folks just like us. I spend my days digging into the latest clinical studies, like that 38er study, which I will always link in the description below so you can check it for yourself. My goal is to take that complex scientific information and turn it into practical advice that we can actually use in our daily lives. And this new finding about nuts is one of the most surprising truths I've found. So, in today's video, we are going to dive deep. First, we'll uncover the hidden root cause of muscle loss that most people overlook. Hint, it's not just getting old. Second, we'll debunk the dangerous myth that all high-fat foods are our enemy when it comes to muscle health. And finally, I will share with you my simple one-handful-a-day protocol, showing you exactly which nuts to eat and how to eat them to start rebuilding your strength. Before we dive in, I have a quick question for you. Do you currently eat nuts regularly? Just type yes or no in the comments below. I read every one. And if you're ready to fight for your strength, please click that like button right now. It truly helps our channel reach more people who need this vital information. The two-front war, inflammation and anabolic resistance. All right, so let's get into the first part of our roadmap. What is really happening inside our bodies? What is this thing we call sarcopenia? And why does it feel like it's stealing our strength? Most people, and honestly, even many doctors, will just wave a hand and say, "Well, you're just getting older." But as a health detective, I've learned that getting old is not a diagnosis. It's not an explanation, it's a process. And if we can understand the process, we can interfere with it. When I dug into the real research, I found that this muscle loss isn't just about one single thing. It's a combination. A 1-2 punch that knocks our muscles down. The first culprit. The hidden root cause that most people never talk about is a process called chronic, low-grade inflammation. Now, when you hear inflammation, you probably think of a sprained ankle. It gets red, swollen, and hot. That's called acute inflammation. And it's a good thing. It's your body's healing response. But the inflammation I'm talking about is different. It's silent. It's invisible. I want you to think of it as a low-level fire. that is always burning in the background of your body. It doesn't create a big, obvious flame. You don't feel it in one specific place. But over decades, the constant, simmering heat starts to damage the machinery of your body. It damages your joints. That's arthritis. It damages your arteries. That's heart disease. It damages your brain. That's cognitive decline. And yes, it damages your muscles. You see, this inflammation acts like a bully. It sends out constant emergency signals, chemical messengers called cytokines, and these signals, they tell your body to break down tissue, not build it up. Your body goes into a state of constant low-level demolition. It's called a catabolic state. Your body is so busy trying to put out this invisible fire. It doesn't have the resources or the right signals to build and repair. It's like trying to build a new house, while a small fire is constantly smoldering in the foundation. You just can't make progress. But that is only half of the problem. This brings us to the second hidden culprit. And this one is fascinating. It's a term researchers use called anabolic resistance. Now, that sounds complicated, but I promise it's simple. Anabolic is just a fancy scientific word for building up. Catabolic, which we just mentioned, is breaking down. Your muscles, all day, every day, are in a constant state of either building or breaking down. To stay strong or to get stronger, we need to be in that building state, that anabolic state, more often than the breaking down state. So how do we tell our muscles to build? The number one signal is protein. When you eat protein, whether it's from a piece of chicken or beans or an egg, it's the Joe signal. It's the message that tells the construction crew inside your muscle cells to get to work. It says, "We have materials, start building." But here is the problem. As we get older, and especially when that fire of inflammation is burning, our muscles become, well, they become deaf to the message. This is anabolic resistance. It's a resistance to the building signal. I want you to think of it like this. Your muscle cell is a radio, and protein is the music. When you were 30, the protein signal came in loud and clear. A little bit of protein and the music was playing. The construction crew got the message. But now, at 60, 70, or 80, the radio is full of static. That static is the inflammation. You're sending the same amount of protein, the same message, but the muscle cell, it just can't hear the music clearly anymore. A 2011 study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, which I'll link below, showed this perfectly. They gave older adults the same dose of protein as younger adults. The younger adults' muscles lit up. They started building. The older adults, a much, much weaker response. Their muscles were resistant. So let's put the two pieces together. This is the true hidden face of sarcopenia. First, we have a fire, chronic inflammation that is constantly sending breakdown signals. and damaging our muscle tissue. And second, we have a broken radio. Our muscles have become deaf or resistant to the very build-up signals from the protein we eat. We're being broken down faster, and we're building back slower. This is the two-front war we are fighting. The low-fat lie, debunking the myths. And this is why the most common advice we're given is so dangerously wrong. This brings us to part 2 of our roadmap, debunking the great sarcopenia myth. What is the first thing? The only thing anyone ever tells you when you want to fight muscle loss. You need more protein. Right? We're told to drink those chalky, expensive protein shakes. We're told to eat more skinless chicken breasts and egg whites and low-fat cottage cheese. And at the same time, what have we been told to avoid? For decades, we've been told that foods like nuts are bad for us. They're too high in fat. They're just calorie-dense. They'll make you gain weight. They'll clog your arteries. So we were told to eat low-fat yogurt, low-fat salad dressing, low-fat cookies, and we diligently avoided these incredible nutritional powerhouses. But here is the massive critical problem with that entire approach. When you understand the real science, remember our fire analogy, the chronic inflammation. Here's problem number 1. Simply shoving more protein into your body does not put out the fire. In fact, it's like trying to hire a construction crew. That's the protein, while your house is still on fire. It's a waste. The building materials, the amino acids from the protein, they just get burned up in the chaos. They never even get to the job site. Your body is so busy dealing with the inflammatory emergency. It can't use that protein efficiently for building. You are not addressing the root cause of the destruction. And what about our broken radio? The anabolic resistance? Just yelling louder, which is what we do by eating more and more protein. Doesn't fix the static. It doesn't make the muscle hear any better. It's like turning up the volume on a radio that's tuned to static. You just get louder static. In fact, some research, which I will also link in the description, shows that just overloading on one type of processed protein, like whey isolate, without all the other necessary nutrients, can actually increase inflammation in some people. It's the opposite of what we want. But the second part of this myth, the part where we were told to fear healthy fats, like the fats in nuts, that is where things get even more dangerous. This was the great low-fat lie of the 80s and 90s. I have a quick question for you. I want you to be honest. Type guilty in the comments. If you, like me, used to throw out the egg yolks, or you bought those fat-free snacks, thinking you were doing something good for your heart, go ahead and type guilty below. We were all in it together. We were told that fat makes you fat. It was simple, it was catchy, and it was completely wrong. Here is what really happened. When we took the healthy, natural fats out of our food, what did the food manufacturers replace them with? They had to make the food taste good somehow. They replaced it with sugar, refined flour, and processed carbohydrates. We started eating low-fat muffins, which were just cakes. We ate low-fat yogurt, which was loaded with more sugar than ice cream. We swapped healthy fats from nuts and olives for toxic, highly processed, inflammatory seed oils, like soybean, corn, and canola oil. And what do sugar, refined carbs, and processed seed oils do in your body? They are pure rocket fuel for that inflammatory fire. So let's look at what we did. We weren't just ignoring the fire. Hey, we were actively pouring gasoline on it. This is the trap. This is the vicious cycle so many well-meaning seniors are caught in. They're trying to fight muscle loss by drinking a protein shake, which ignores the fire. And then for lunch, they eat a sandwich on healthy whole wheat bread and some low-fat chips, which pours gasoline on the fire. They are fighting a battle on two fronts, and a third front they didn't even know existed. It is a cycle that is designed to fail. And all the while, the real solution, the food that actually fights the fire, the food that clears the static on the radio, the food that provides the high-quality building blocks, has been sitting on the shelf, wrongly accused of being the enemy. The complete solution: firefighters and construction crew. So, if the low-fat and high-protein-only approach is a trap, if it pours gasoline on the fire of inflammation and does nothing to fix the static on our radio, then what is the real solution? Well, as I'm sure you've guessed, it is that very food we were told to fear. It's nuts. And the reason why is everything. It's because nuts are not just one thing. A protein shake is just protein. A chicken breast is just protein and some fat. But a handful of nuts is a complete synergistic package. It is nature's perfect anti-sarcopenia solution. Let's go back to our two-front war. First, we had the fire, that chronic, low-grade inflammation. What is the number one thing you need? When you have a fire, you need firefighters. This is where nuts change the entire game. Nuts, especially walnuts, are loaded with a specific kind of fat called omega-3 fatty acids, specifically ALA. These healthy essential fats are the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds in the food world. They are literally the firefighters that show up and start spraying down the flames. When you eat a handful of walnuts, you are sending in a highly trained crew to put out that smoldering fire in your body. But that's not all. Nuts also contain powerful antioxidants, like vitamin E, which is especially high in almonds. If the omega-3s are the firefighters, think of vitamin E as the fire extinguisher and the protective gear. It's an antioxidant. which means it flies around and cleans up the damage the fire has already caused. It protects your muscle cells from being damaged by the smoke and the heat. So, in one single handful of nuts, you are not just ignoring the fire, you are actively extinguishing it. Okay, so we've handled the fire. But what about our second problem? The broken radio. The anabolic resistance? Remember, our muscles have gone deaf to the build signal from protein because the static from inflammation is too loud. Well, what happens when the firefighters, the omega-3s, put out the inflammation? The static goes down. The signal suddenly becomes crystal clear. Your muscle cell's radio can finally hear the music from the protein again. Your muscles become sensitive to the build signal once more. But nuts, they don't even stop there. They do something even more amazing. Nuts, like almonds, are one of the world's best sources of a mineral called magnesium. Magnesium is the radio technician. Research is crystal clear on this. Magnesium is essential for muscle function. It's the mineral that allows your muscles to contract and to relax. But it's also critical for protein synthesis. That's the actual building process. Magnesium is the technician that comes in, fine-tunes the radio, checks the wiring, and makes sure the music, the protein, is being perfectly translated into action. In fact, a 2023 study in the journal Magnesium Research, I will link it, found a direct link. Lower magnesium levels meant a higher risk of sarcopenia. So, by eating nuts, you put out the fire, you clear the static, and you send in a technician to repair the radio. And now, and only now, can we talk about the most famous part of nuts? The protein. Nuts are a fantastic source of high-quality plant-based protein. This is the construction crew. And here's the beautiful part. In the old failed model, we sent the construction crew the protein shake to a burning, chaotic, noisy building site, and they couldn't do any work. In the new model, the firefighters, omega-3s, have put out the fire. The radio technician, magnesium, has fixed the communication lines. And now, the construction crew, the protein from the nuts, arrives at a calm, safe, and efficient work site where they can finally get to work, rebuilding your muscle. Do you see the difference? It is not about one nutrient. It is about synergy. SYNERGY. It's the all-in-one package. The fat, the minerals, the antioxidants, and the protein, all working together in one perfect whole food. This is why that 2025 study showed a 38% reduction in sarcopenia risk. It wasn't a magnesium pill study. It wasn't an omega-3 oil study. It was a whole nut study. Because the whole food is the solution. The one handful a day protocol, the application, So, this brings us to the most important part of our video. Part 4. The why is fantastic. But as your health detective, I am only interested in the how-to. How do we actually use this information in our real lives? I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I don't want you to think you have to change your entire diet. You don't. You just need to add one new thing. I call this the 1 handful a day protocol. It is simple, it is cheap, and it is incredibly effective. So let's get into the specifics. First, which nuts are the best? While all raw nuts are good, if your mission, like my mission, is to fight sarcopenia, there are 2 clear winners. Winner number 1, walnuts. Think of walnuts as the king of anti-inflammation. I want you to remember that. Why? Because as I mentioned, they are the only common nut that is loaded with those plant-based omega-3s. They are the firefighter specialists. If your body feels stiff and inflamed, walnuts should be your number 1 choice. Winner number 2, almonds. Think of almonds as the nutrient pack. They are packed with that vitamin E fire extinguisher. And even more importantly, they are one of the best food sources of magnesium. Our radio technician. They are essential for muscle function and repair. So what's my advice? Use both. Make a mix. That way you get the firefighters from the walnuts and the technicians from the almonds. You are getting the best of both worlds. Second, how much is 1 handful? This is important. We are not talking about eating a giant can of nuts. The sweet spot found in most studies is 30 grams, or about 1 ounce. Now, I don't want you to carry a food scale. That's not practical. The easiest way to measure is just 1 cupped handful. Visuals show a cupped handful of nuts, not a giant fistful. Just what fits comfortably in the palm of your hand. That's it. That is your daily dose. Third, and this is the most important rule. How do you buy them? I need you to listen to me very carefully on this. You must buy them raw and unsalted. Please, do not buy the honey-roasted, sea salt and vinegar, or dry-roasted cans. Here is why. First, the salt. Most of us are getting far too much sodium, which is terrible for blood pressure. We are trying to reduce inflammation, not add more fuel to it. But the second part is even worse. Most of those roasted nuts are roasted in those toxic, highly inflammatory seed oils we talked about earlier. Soybean oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil. You'd be taking a firefighting food and soaking it in gasoline. It makes no sense. So raw and unsalted. Now you're thinking, but Frank, those are expensive. Here's the cheap part of the promise. Do not buy the small $10 snack cans. That's a marketing trap. Go to the bulk bin section of your grocery store. You will find raw walnuts and raw almonds for a fraction of the price. You can buy a whole week's worth for just a few dollars. And here is my pro tip. Those healthy fats. The firefighters. They are very delicate. They can go bad or rancid if they get warm. So when you get home, store your nuts in the refrigerator. Or even better, in the freezer. They won't freeze solid. They'll just be perfectly fresh. And their firefighting power will be protected. This is the best way to do it. Finally, how do you eat them? How do you make this a daily habit? This is the easy part. Option 1, the breakfast boost. This is the easiest win. While you make your morning oatmeal, just crush up your handful of walnuts and sprinkle them right on top. Or put them on top of yogurt or fruit. Done. Option 2, the lunch crunch. Having a salad? Great. Toss a handful of sliced almonds on top. It adds a delicious, satisfying crunch that makes healthy eating enjoyable. Option 3, the 3 p.m. savior. This is my favorite. Around 3 o'clock. We all feel that slump, right? And we reach for a cookie, or a bag of chips, or a candy bar, all of which are fire starters. This is your new move. Have your 30-gram portion of nuts ready in a small container. At 3 p.m. That is your snack. It will give you steady, reliable energy from the healthy fats and protein. And at the exact same time, it will be actively fighting for your muscles. I have one more quick question for you. What is your favorite way to eat nuts? Are you a walnut in oatmeal person? An almond as a snack person? Share your best ideas in the comments below. You will be helping everyone in our community find new ways to make this a habit. Your 7-day strength challenge. So, let's quickly recap what we've learned today. First, we learned that sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, isn't just getting old, it's a two-front war. A hidden fire of chronic inflammation. And a broken radio of anabolic resistance that stops our muscles from hearing the message to build. Second, we debunked the dangerous low-fat myth. We learned that simply eating more processed protein while avoiding healthy fats is like trying to build a house during a fire while pouring gasoline on the flames. And most importantly, we discovered the power of a whole food synergistic solution. We found that a handful of nuts acts as both the firefighters, that's the omega-3s and healthy fats, and the construction crew, that's the high-quality protein, all while the radio technicians, the magnesium and vitamin E, put out the fire, clear the static, and finally allow our muscles to get the message to grow strong again. So now, it's time to put this knowledge into action. Here is my challenge for you. I call it the 7-day strength challenge. For just the next 7 days, I want you to follow the 1 handful a day protocol. That's it. Just one cupped handful of raw, unsalted nuts, like our power combo of walnuts and almonds, every single day. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't change anything else about your diet. Just do that one simple thing. And simply pay attention. Pay attention to your energy levels in the afternoon. Pay attention to your hunger. Pay attention to how your joints and muscles feel. Remember, building a healthier, stronger life is a journey, not a destination. It is about making these small, consistent, powerful choices every single day. I would be honored if you would share your journey with us. What is the one small change you are inspired to make? After watching this video, will you take the 7-day challenge? Let me know in the comments below. I truly do read everyone. If you found this information helpful, and I sincerely hope that you did, please click that thumbs up button. It tells YouTube that this message is important. Please share this video with a friend or a family member, a brother, a sister, or a parent who you know deserves to feel strong and vital. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to click subscribe and hit that little bell icon so you don't miss our next video. I'm Frank Taylor. Thank you so much for watching Golden Years Nutrition. And I'll see you in the next video.